Okay, the highlights from our live trading chat room, Tuesday, November 6th at Greatstockpix.com. P-A-Y, I noticed the early volume and the nice push, and this was grinding lower, and if you've seen any of our videos about the 520 kiss, this was certainly overdue for a bounce after this kind of volume push higher, grinding lower. The 520 kiss, usually an area on a strong stock where you get the touch of the 520 and you get a nice reversal. And this is what it looked like right before I noticed it. By the time I noticed it, it had already hit the 520 and was above 32 again. So I turned on the projector and showed everybody, hey, this could be, could give a nice setup here. It's already touched the 520. I'm going to go ahead and grab it right here. And I grabbed it at 32.07. I said my stop's going to go below this green candle, 31.96. So it was 32.07 at the time I grabbed it, 11 cents risk. And it just grinded higher. Almost took out the high of the day. And I'll tell you what, I'm proud of this. I was a seller right in this area because I said, if in case it's not going to take out the high of the day, likely reversal right here. And so I almost sold the top. And that was it for the day. Not for the day, for that trade. Almost picked the top clean. I usually keep some with a break-even stop. But anyway, there wasn't a lot of follow-through there. I also called CRUS. I could have timed this one better. CRUS severely beaten up, by the way. If you trade at all, you already know this one. For the last few days, been beaten up. And so I called it basically over this 20-minute opening range, 33.14. Worst case stop, 32.76. So it triggers right here and meanders for a long time, holds the stop. So when I say I could have timed it better, I could have just said, you know what, well, had I not taken this trade, the high of day break now makes even more sense. And anyway, here it comes. There's the high of day break. We were sellers into this spike. I said I'm selling some here at the 5-200, 5-minute candle, 200 period moving average. Plus we had shape. I love to sell into shape. Almost caught the top there too, and it meandered the rest of the day. And I kind of knew this afternoon was going to be weird with the election going on. I honestly just didn't expect a lot of conviction in the afternoon, a lot of uncertainty and everything. So that was another nice trade. I have to give hats off to, let's see, one of our members, Travis. We were watching SRPT, and you guys know we look for sudden spikes. I already had this on watch and had already said a break of the early high. These are 5-minute candles. A break of the early high could give this one some momentum. Well, then Travis noticed it. That's not an arrow. Travis noticed it when it looked like this. He said, hey, SRPT, volume or shape, or not shape, SRPT, some action, however he worded it. And I said, yeah, this meets our Tokyo parameters. You could grab it anywhere right around here with your stop below this candle. So your stop would have to be 24.24 no matter where you took it. And it got a nice push through the high day. Probably went up 80 cents from where Travis pointed it out. And again, the afternoon grind lower means nothing because anyone that took it here was a seller into this next 15-minute rip because that's how we teach people to trade. So excellent alert by Travis. And then the call of the day, Stephen B., one of our all-stars, in Belgium, by the way. Notice now, if you saw CDE, it just kept selling all day. I didn't want to touch this thing, okay? I just didn't want to touch it. But then at some point, it becomes interesting. Now, you know, there's still no, on an intraday basis, there's still no great entry here. I do like the shape change and the volume. But then, when you switch to the daily chart, you see it was coming all the way down to this 200 day, which at the time was about 22.80. So then, look what happens. Let's switch to 5s. Look what happens right around that area. Takes out 23, takes out the stops really below 23, goes down to 22.85. Stephen B. Alerted everybody about the 200-day moving average, how weak this was, but if it's ever going to bounce, hey, this is time to start watching it. And he called it over this little narrow candle here. By the time he called it, I think it was, to be fair, about 23.15, okay? So we called the entry 23.15. His idea for the stop was low of day. I didn't disagree with that at all, 22.84. So CDE, about 30 cents risk. And from 23.15 ends up getting through 24. It goes to 24.21. So because of the scope of this big sell-off, this move from the entry to here doesn't look very big, okay? But this was over $1, okay? And we had a lot of people make some nice money on that one. Great alert by Stephen B. And then that was really it for the day. I quit early because I just had a feeling the afternoon was going to be kind of goofy. And I did have 2 SMS plays. I called Walgreens, WAG. I sent out an SMS alert on WAG at 33.82, so it looked about like this. and it didn't do much, and finally got a spike here, pulled back down, double bottom, ends up going a little higher. So the highest it went, Walgreens WAG, from 33.82 went to 34.08 at its height. So I'm in a decent little trade. Again, these aren't meant to be fast scalps. They're meant to be you buy it when you get the SMS alert. You know, if you can keep an eye on the price from work or wherever you're taking these SMS trades from, you know, at some point maybe you saw it up nicely through 34.05 or through 34 and maybe took some off table. Or we also say you can just take them and then make sure you just log on before the close and kill it. And if you did that, you didn't make much, but it still closed above the call, never stopped out. And then the other one was even less stellar. So we didn't have our best day on the SMSs, but I called XCO here at 8:04. Looked just like this when I called it, and it didn't stop out, but it only went to 8:17. You know, that's still not horrible. You could have had some money there, but you know, it meandered almost all afternoon and all day. You were at the very least, you know, flat or green until the very end of the day. It ended up closing below the open, below the call. But this has been a great service. I love these intraday bottom feeding plays, and I'm getting great feedback from the members. You know, it's real relaxed. None of them say it's difficult to follow, and I'm getting a lot of thank yous, albeit today, I'll have to admit, not our best one. But again, if I slide the results over here, you can also easily make the argument that I don't call anything dangerous. Most of them are pretty relaxed trades. You don't see me calling VRNG or something. I wouldn't have called CDE. That was a chat room day trade idea. I wouldn't have tried to send out that alert down there, that chart I just showed you on Stephen B's call at 23.15. It was just too fast, okay? But so they're all safe and relaxed trades. And again, we've only had to date just one right here. We've only had the one stop out. And most of them, even if you just sold at the close, you can look, most of them, there's only been a couple that were underwater, under our entry at the close. One of them was absolutely flat at the close. We had the one stop out. The rest of them, almost all of them green at the close, even if you just want to take it that relaxed way. And a lot of them were much nicer than that at some point during the day. So anyway, I'm going to quit babbling. Don't forget to vote, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.